I'm a part of the Treasury and Trade Solutions business. I look after the trade businesses within this for the region for Asia. I'm based out of Hong Kong, and this is a role that I've taken over earlier this year. Though I'm a veteran at the bank, I've spent close to 20 years with Citi. I think it started in the early days, January or February or so, when we saw the pandemic hit some of the North Asian markets, China and a little wider than China. And then it spread across more markets in Asia. And at that point, initially, end of quarter one and maybe early quarter two, we saw clients rushing to sort of safeguard liquidity to make sure they were in a position where they're not having any sort of a cash crunch. So we saw a lot of borrowings, a lot of anxiety at that stage, because I don't think clients had a model of how this would play out. And as a trade bank and as a provider of liquidity to many of our clients, we did see a sharp increase at that point in time in our assets and in what clients wanted to borrow from us. And I think outside of trade at that point, clients were focusing on resilience and how they were going to respond, and what were the contingency plans they were going to make. As the initial sort of reaction settled, from a trade perspective, we saw clients looking far more into resilience and sustainability of their supply chains and credit aspects, and they were looking at solutions that impacted their entire ecosystem. Their buyers, their suppliers, how they sell, how they purchase, because just solving for themselves wouldn't solve the entirety of the problem. So a larger, holistic approach, which frankly is reasonably positive for banks like us, because that's something we've been recommending to our clients for a while, that to look at balance sheet friendly solutions, to look at solutions that pass on the benefit to their sales organization, that allows their procurement chain to benefit from their standing, etc. So that's the journey I think a lot of clients are down the path of at this point in time. I think the first thing that the clients are looking at is at sustainability of their supply chains. The second key feature clients are looking at is the resilience of their supply chains. So given these two factors, they're looking, in many cases, there are shifts in supply chains that are being thought of by clients to make sure that they are able to sustain in the future similar issues that may arise. And I think the other thing in an immediate sense they're looking at is how do they make sure their entire ecosystem is resilient, is able to supply to them, is able to buy from them. So how they interact with their buyers and their sellers is becoming even more critical, and how banks like ourselves provide them with solutions to be able to lubricate their supply chains is going to be even more critical. So we've seen an uptick in usage of supply finance solutions, usage of receivable finance solutions, portfolio distribution finance solutions, and we're looking at partnerships with ECAs who help to mitigate risks, because in this environment, as you would appreciate, in some cases risks have become more heightened. So interestingly, even some of the more classical trade instruments like letters of credit and guarantees are making a bit of a comeback, because open account trade is predicated on trust and openness. Interestingly, we are, I think, conversing with them far more than we did earlier, because it's just so much simpler on virtual media to converse with clients. Having said so, it's probably the case because we're in an environment where we've known our clients very well. We've already got a base on which we're building the future or the current conversations. So that relationship already exists. We're building the content conversations virtually on top of that. So as the pandemic has begun, we've taken on a bit of an advisory role. We've been hosting a series of webinars weekly to start with in the pandemic, sharing topical ideas and getting client feedback through polls and through questions as part of these webinars, as well as bringing in expert speakers into these webinars. And we recently had the Treasury Finance Week, which was done virtually with the great turnout of clients across the globe. And then a lot of the topics that we covered during the Treasury Finance Week were inspired by the questions or the sort of top of mind topics that we felt clients had during the many webinars that we've had with them. In addition, I think a lot of us have been able to get onto calls with clients on virtual media. Travel is no longer an impediment. You could be in a different continent and yet get onto a client call. In the medium term, as people change roles and as organizations move into different spaces, we don't know how this model will evolve. But as of now, I think we've really been able to amp up the intensity. As many of us are aware, trade tends to be a very paper-intensive, or was a very paper-intensive business, and a lot of the client engagements we have was moving down the digital path, but we were still at relatively nascent stages of that journey. However, what COVID has done is it's sort of accelerated the digital journey for us, and we're looking at the digital journey in 3 or 4 large ways, really. The first is, how do we as a bank process our transactions? So, we have large back offices, we move around thousands and millions of pieces of paper. How do we do that more efficiently and use OCR or artificial intelligence or various other tools to be doing what we're doing in a far more operationally resilient and efficient manner? And I think that journey we're reasonably advanced on. And the other aspect of this journey is, how are we connecting with our clients? And we have proprietary platforms, both larger transaction banking as well as just trade platforms, via which clients engage with us. We're using APIs as a tool to be able to receive and provide information to clients, and make the paper submission from the client's end minimized, and as well put in efficiencies in process and make them far more strong from a risk and governance perspective as well. And I think lastly, trade doesn't happen between a bank and the buyer and the seller. There are various third parties involved. There are shipping agents, there are insurance agents, there are certifiers, etc. The interesting part will have to be to get all of these parties onto the electronic media as well, to actually be able to do transactions in an entirety without paper or in a seamless manner. And of course, governmental support and governmental push for these, because in many cases there are certifications or governmental reportings, etc., that are part of the whole trade cycle. So sorry, it's a bit of a long answer, but I think there are various prongs that we need to look at to really truly digitize this process. And maybe one last angle to add is the partnership that we are putting in place with fintechs. We've made a couple of proprietary investments as well on platforms that are leveraging blockchain, which we do think will be a material player in the future of trade. And so yes, we're looking at this from a holistic fashion as opposed to just from a client connectivity angle.